Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the biggest nose, Jay-Z Courtside, coming at y'all today on October 17th. That's 4 podcasts, 4 days in a row. I told y'all we're going to stay consistent on here. The NBA season starts back up next week. I hope you guys are excited as I am. A little bit of news that I want to share before we get into today's episode, ranking the top 10 power forwards. We're continuing the series where we did point guards, shooting guards, small forwards. Today's power forwards, and tomorrow, Saturday, October 18th, will be centers. All right. I do have a little bit of things that I want to talk about before we start. I'm just going to touch base on them, and I'll do a full podcast on things to expect on Monday, the morning before the season starts. Okay. Again, guys, we are going to be doing these podcasts live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern on this channel that you're watching right now on YouTube. If you're on Spotify and Apple, they're obviously not going to be live. You can't live stream on those platforms, but we will be live streaming Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern on Twitch, the YouTube channel, Jay-Z Courtside, on TikTok, everywhere. Everywhere we will be live streaming them all season long. All the links you need will be down below. We're actually posting a new documentary. It's on the Malice at the Palace tonight. So if you're watching this, it's already posted at 6:30 p.m. on October 17th. So be sure to go check that out if you're interested in watching a different angle on the Malice of the Palace. I know the story's been told 100 times, but this is a little bit of a different story. My apologies for the bedhead, by the way, if you are watching on YouTube. Guys, be sure to leave a 5-star review on Spotify as well as Apple. It goes a long way. It really, really, really helps your boy out, as well as leaving a like and subscribe on YouTube. Be sure to follow on all platforms, Twitter, Discord server, everything will be down below. I don't want to talk about this stuff too in depth because I want to save it for the podcast for the day before the NBA starts on Monday. But Pistons fans just received news yesterday that Jaden Ivey has suffered. He just went through some procedure that's related to his fibula that broke from Cole Anthony last year, and I guess it was nagging him during the training camp and preseason. And yeah, he's going to be reevaluated in 4 weeks. So my professionally unprofessional guess would say if it goes well and recovery goes well, he'll probably be back before Christmas. I know that's 9 weeks away. I know that's a long time, but think about it this way. He just got back into full, actual NBA conditioning. You can't really condition for the NBA other than NBA games. So, reevaluated in 4 weeks, that puts us at Thanksgiving, basically, right? And then another month to start ramping up. So we'll see. I saw some very interesting things during the preseason game on last night for the Pistons when they clobbered the Wizards, but is it necessary to talk about right now? Not really. They're going to be using Asar Thompson as, I predicted this, but they're going to be using Asar Thompson as a backup PG for Cade, essentially. So 4 minutes into the game, Asar came out of the game, and then when there was 4 minutes left in the first quarter, Cade subbed out and Asar replaced him onto the court. So that's something to look forward to. Asar is going to be asked to do a lot this season, which is great. Listen, anytime Asar Thompson's on the court, I talked about it, be sure to go watch the Small Forwards podcast. Anytime he's on the court, the Pistons are plus. So I think more Asar is just great. And it looks like Duran's going to see a big leap as well. We'll talk about him a bit. He's not in my top 10 for centers, but still, we'll talk about it. Let's start the top 10 power forwards pod now that we got all of that garbage out of the way. I do have a couple honorable mentions. I'll say this. I don't like the way I formatted this. I did it similar to Numbers on the Board with Kenny Beecham and all of them. Shout out to them for getting on NBC. That's the dream. But I don't like the fact that I didn't include Tatum and Halliburton and those two in particular. Same with Kyrie on these lists because they did play the majority of last season, right? And now I'm not ranking them. If I'm basing these podcasts predominantly from last season with some projections, they should be included on this list. So if that's the case, Tatum's in the top 3. here. I'm just letting you know. I let you know about Halliburton as well, that he was in the top 5 for point guards. So Tatum would be in the top 3 for power forwards. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I don't like how I did this. And next year we won't do that. Like, let's say some player plays almost all year, and then they get hurt in the playoffs. They deserve to be included onto this list. So I'm just letting you know off rip that Tatum is an honorable mention. He belongs on the actual list. Let's start off at number 10. I don't want to go over the honorable mentions because it'll spoil what's to come. But number 10, I have Aaron Gordon of the Denver Nuggets. He averaged over 14 and a half points, about 5 rebounds, just over 3 assists, half a steal, shot. This is the most important detail about Aaron Gordon. Shot 43% from deep and 58% from 2. Aaron Gordon was crucial last year for the Denver Nuggets. I know they lost in 7 against OKC, but that series could have went either way, and it was thanks to Aaron Gordon. If he hadn't gotten hurt, if MPJ hadn't gotten hurt, that series I think would have ended completely different, and we'd be talking about a weird and different offseason for the OKC Thunder. We're all predicting the Thunder are going to go back-to-back, right? My opinion, if you want, I don't even consider it a dark horse. I believe the 2026 NBA champion is going to be the Denver Nuggets, and I don't think that's crazy to say. Aaron Gordon, with the leap that he took last year, has proven to us that he can be that right-hand man next to Nikola Jokic. Jokic makes everyone around him better, similar to what LeBron has done all his career. All the players around him look better, right? They got Hardaway Jr. off the bench now. He's going to look like a completely different player like he was on the Pistons last year. So shout out to him. He's going to be eating off of open threes next year. They got Bruce Brown, who I know is going to be better than Westbrook was for them last year, and he wasn't bad. But Bruce Brown, he's going to have his career resurrected by playing with Jokic again. On top of that, Jokic finally has a backup big in Jonas Valanciunas. I don't want to say that they're going to be doing 5 post-up plays a game through Jonas, but his big body self, the fact that they have a big behind Jokic means he doesn't have to lead the league in minutes anymore. I think he was like top 3 or top 5 last season in minutes played. And they're always scared every time they take him out. I think they're gonna experiment with Aaron Gordon at the 4 next to Jonas and Jokic because he's that versatile. He gets you rebounds, he can play make, and he can put the ball on the floor. Aaron Gordon has improved beyond belief. And honestly, I don't think anybody could have predicted the trajectory of his career the way it's gone so far. Him playing with Jokic, I mean, we're looking at this guy completely different. We're looking at him. I mean, let's think about like another player similar to him, not similar play style, but let's look at another player similar. I think Manu Ginobili. I don't think Ginobili would have had the career he had without having Tim Duncan on his side. You know what I'm saying? I think that goes hand in hand with Aaron Gordon. We're seeing how good of a player he really is and how good of a player he can be, because I still don't think he's reached the ceiling. 43% from deep. He is perfect for what Denver needs. And it's unfortunate that he went down with injury. What could have been? Who knows? But honestly, I think they're my prediction. Who's going to win? I think Jokic is going to win MVP. I think Aaron Gordon is going to show us again that when they're healthy, they're dangerous. I did even mention Cam Johnson on that team and to replace MPJ. The court is going to be opened up so much, and Aaron Gordon is going to be dared to shoot threes. I mean, what would you rather happen? Jokic shoot a 3 or Aaron Gordon? At this point, I don't know. Because the last couple years, especially last year, they were daring Gordon to shoot. I don't think any teams are going to be daring him to shoot. But if it's between giving Jokic an open look in the paint or giving Aaron Gordon an open shot in the corner, I think most people would give that open shot to Gordon in the corner. They'd rather him shoot than Jokic. That's why Aaron Gordon's at my number 10. It was really hard to put him there because he could have gone 9. He could have been an honorable mention, right? But at number 9, I have another player that is extremely controversial until last year. And I feel for him because he had one bad series against a team that every player had a bad series against. And his name is Julius Randle. I was not a Julius Randle believer whatsoever. Julius Randle, when he was on the Lakers, he showed promise. When he was on the Knicks, he showed that he's a ball. Like, if the ball gets to him, the ball's ending with him. He's going to pound the hell out of that basketball for 20 seconds out of the shot clock and then put a shot up. And that was Julius Randle. And that was still somewhat Julius Randle this year, except he averaged just barely under 19 points, almost 5 assists, 7 rebounds, almost a steal, 34% from deep, and 55% from two. Julius Randle showed us last year that he can be your number two. And what better number two than a Julius Randle at your four? I think he is so incredibly talented. They didn't even have a training camp together last year. That trade for Cat happened after, like, I think in the middle of training camp. They didn't get to practice. Now, imagine Anthony Edwards. I don't want to spoil where I had him in the shooting guards episode, so be sure to go listen to that. Him next to Anthony Edwards and Gobert that demands all that attention in the paint. I think Julius Randle is going to have an even better year. I think I got him averaging 20 points minimum. The confidence that this man's going to have, as well as having his teammate Dante DiVincenzo with him, who I think is going to improve as well next year, just being on that team for a little bit longer and building some camaraderie with the team. I am very, very, very excited to see what Julius Randle is going to be able to do next year. And that's why I have him at my 9, because he was that good last year without a training camp, without knowing any of these players that he played with. So I think Julius Randle is going to improve his three-point shooting. I think he's going to get a lot of open looks now because Anthony Edwards is going to dictate so much more gravity. And I think he's just going to show us even more next year why they traded for him in the first place. They extended him. Julius Randle in the playoffs was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely. He's been called a playoff dropper his whole career. He can't do an end of season. Well, guess what he did? He did an end of season last year. The only series he played poorly in was the Thunder series. Everybody had a bad series against the Thunder. Like, I don't think people quite understand how valuable he is going to be for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think Timberwolves fans will tell you off rip. They're more excited about having Julius Randle for a second year than Anthony Edwards' next leap. Like, what is his next leap going to be? We know he told us that he's going to be working on his post game, and he's been showcasing that a little bit in the preseason. Preseason's preseason. I think Julius Randle is going to have such a good year. He just had a great year. If they avoid the Thunder in the playoffs, what team is going to stop an Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle duo? I think they're one of the best 1-2 punches in the league. Obviously, Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren led the league in lob connections, but that's just a part of like a nice duo. I think that 1-2 punch with Ant and Julius Randle is going to be prolific next year, and I'm really excited. I'm honestly, Timberwolves fans should be ecstatic about going into next season now that you have JR with a season under his belt, and on top of that, just another season, like actually having a training camp with the team. So, yeah, I got Julius Randle at number 9. And this is where the list starts getting a little confusing and complicated. And I sort of regret doing this because if I penalized Tatum, Halliburton, and Kyrie for getting hurt in the playoffs, then how can I give this player a top? I'll tell you how. He's that good. This player right here could be top 3 in the power forwards next year. I'm not even saying that as like if this player changes every year. He'll play 65 games, then play 25 games. 70 games, 15 games. 65 games, 30 games. And last year, it just so happened to be one of those 30-game seasons. He played 30 games, Zion Williamson, for the New Orleans Pelicans. He averaged in those 30 games 25 points, 5.5 assists, just over 7 rebounds, about a steal and a half, a block, shot 23% from deep. It's hard to get in your rhythm when you start the season so late. And 57% from 2. I could not. This is why next offseason, if somebody gets hurt at the end of the year and we saw them play the majority of the year, I'm including them. So Tatum, Halliburton, my apologies, guys. Again, Kyrie, I will include you next year. That's on me. Like I said, Tatum, you would have been top 3. But this player here who played 30 games last year, Zion Williamson, he is 25 years old, y'all. He is 25. Did we forget that this guy was supposed to be the next LeBron? Did we forget that this guy was the most hyped up prospect since LeBron? Zion Williamson should improve he doesn't even need to improve. His three-pointer is the only thing that he can improve upon. Everything else is just availability. That if he played 30 games last season, then he's projected to play 65, 75 games next season. That's just how his career has gone. He is too good of a player to to be disrespected the way he is. He is in the best shape of his career. On top of that, he has lost so much weight. I'll tell you this much. I know a lot of Pistons fans were trying to replace Tobias Harris at the 4. And Zion Williamson was in everyone's mouths. Every Pistons fan I know wanted to somehow trade for Zion Williamson. And I hate the fact that I'm not one of those people. Because the best ability on the basketball court is availability. And that is what Zion Williamson lacks. I know he has that like weird off-court stuff. He's been weird. But as far as a basketball player, there's few better than Zion in his position. Next year, if I was basing this purely off of projections, he'd be top 3 in this right now. But since we have to look at last season and what he did, he is number 8 because I can't for the life of me with the lack of health. I don't want to say if about health, but right now he is number 8 on this list, Zion Williamson. And at number 7 wasn't too difficult to place here. I think what we've seen from this next player hasn't been what we exactly wanted so far, especially with his contract extension. But I said this last year. Let's just say his name, Scotty Barnes. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, you can see the visuals that I have popping up on the screen. But yeah, please listen on wherever you guys are enjoying the podcast most. Scotty Barnes for the Toronto Raptors. He almost averaged 19.5 points, about 6 assists, about 8 rebounds, a steal and a half, and a block, while shooting 27% from 3 and 51% from 2. Scotty Barnes is one of the most perplexing players in the league. He's young. He's still a kid. And he's shown flashes of what he can do. I feel for him. I don't know how this next season is going to shape up for Scotty Barnes. I don't know what the Toronto Raptors are planning, but they have completely, like, if they were trying to stunt his growth, then congratulations. You guys did it. Congratulations. You just brought Brandon Ingram in the trade deadline and then re-signed him. You gave him a contract before he's even played a game for you. Same position as Scotty. Basically. I mean, he's a small forward who demands the ball, right? You just brought in RJ Barrett, right? So now we have RJ Barrett. You have Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, all ball dominant players. I'm forgetting somebody as well. Emmanuel quickly. Is he still on? Yeah. I feel for Scotty. I really, really do. I don't think Emmanuel Quickly's on the team anymore. But my issue with Scotty is not even his play style. I think he's great. I just don't think he knows what kind of player he wants to be in this NBA. His finishing needs to improve. Absolutely. His fast break finishing in particular. Did you guys know that he is the worst? Like, I think the actual worst at fast break finishing in the league as far as percentage goes. For some reason, when he's going down, when he's going down the court, he just can't focus and I don't know. I don't know. Scotty Barnes is an incredible talent, and Toronto fans will tell you that he's much higher on this list. But he's shown those flashes. I just don't think he knows what kind of player he wants to become in this league. I feel like he knows that he can be a point forward, but he doesn't have the confidence in order to do so. And the team around him is not. This is not built around him. I know Jakob Poeltl helps with giving him that contract, but I just don't know if this is the team that Scotty needs around him. And it's sort of worrisome because, you know, you look at Cade. I'm using him as an example because I think these guys were teammates in high school, right? You look at Cade and like they have been trying to build around Cade. They've been trying to surround him with shooters, right? They've been trying to. Scotty is surrounded by mirror images of himself. I don't know if I love this acquisition of Brandon Ingram and RJ Barrett for him. I don't think they're going to be able to move RJ either. I don't think most people want to trade, like, especially for draft picks. Like, why would anybody want to do that here? And with the new CBA and all the bargain, it's just, I'm worried about Scotty. I'm worried that his team doesn't know the direction that they want to go. I'm worried that he doesn't know what kind of player he wants to be. He's a very talented player. Seems like a nice guy as well. I just don't think the Toronto Raptors know what's good for him. And it sucks because he is one of the players that I was most excited for coming into the draft a few years ago. I want to go into number 6, and you could switch Scotty and number 6 if you want, but number 6 does a lot well, and he's shown what he can do last year when his right-hand man was out. Same with the year before, and that's why we have Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Memphis Grizzlies. Last year, he averaged 22.2 points, 2 assists, 5.5 rebounds, almost a steal and a half, and a block and a half. He shot 37% from 3 and 54% for 2. He was 7th in DPOY voting. He was an all-star, and he was all defense second team. We know what Jaren Jackson Jr. can do. We know what he can't do. He can't rebound. I don't know why he's incapable of rebounding. I'm worried about Triple J. So the offense was running through him with, I think his name was Taylor Jenkins, their old head coach. And then I can't remember their new head coach name that they gave him the reins. They gave him the keys like with like 6 or 7 games last season. And in Neske something. I don't remember his name. But they were running the offense through him. And yeah, Taylor Jenkins he was not a fan of running the offense through Ja Morant. And that was mainly because of all the suspensions, all the games he's missed due to injury. So I understand why he was running through Triple J, but that's why his points are so high. That is why his points are. He's not a good facilitator. He can't rebound well, but he can put the ball in the hoop. And that's a great talent to have in the NBA. My issue is we know he's great defensively, but what are they going to do offensively? They're going to run the ball through Ja Morant. The new head coach has stated that a lot, that he wants it to go through Ja. Ja's their superstar. Let's run it through Ja. Here's the issue. Jaren Jackson Jr. is missing the first portion of the year. Zach Edey is missing the first portion of the year. And I think Ja Morant is going to miss just a week or 2 of the year. I think they said he'd be good to start, but I don't know. I know he got hurt. What worries me about the Memphis Grizzlies is that they lost Desmond Bane, their primary ball handler, and they don't really have a clear replacement of Ja Morant. If Ja Morant's not playing, then I assume Ty Jerome is going to be getting the majority of those minutes. Ty Jerome does not pass the ball. So when you see Ty Jerome and Triple J on the court at the same time, which I guarantee you're going to see a lot, Triple J you might see a couple clips of him getting angry, because I don't see Ty Jerome's not a passer, bro. The ball ends with him, and that could change in his career for sure. But from what I'm telling you, from what I've seen and what I saw in the preseason, Ty Jerome is not looking to pass when he touches the ball. So he better hope that Ja Morant is feeling his facilitating, because otherwise you're going to see Triple J's numbers dip. And I don't know if he'll be a returning all-star next year, especially with how they changed the all-star rules. We know he's a great defender. We know he's a great offensive mind. I just don't know if they have the tools around them. I don't know what the Grizzlies' plan is, whether they're going to be building around Ja or Triple J. I think they're a play-in hopeful next year. I'm unsure of what this team can do, especially in the West. I'm a big Ja fan. I'm a big Triple J fan. I just don't know how this fit is going to continue to work. And I think this is the year that they're going to make a tough decision. I think we're going to see it this year, whether or not this is going to be the true future of the Memphis Grizzlies or what, which really sucks. I like Zach Edey too, but I don't know, man. This team is each year, it just feels like they're falling deeper and deeper and deeper. Adding KCP instead of Bane is just a huge negative. Their defense is going to be better, but their offense is not. The reason KCP looked so good for the half of his career is because he spent time in LA with LeBron, right? Who makes everyone look better. And he got a championship with Jokic as well, who makes everybody better. That's why I'm telling you that everybody's going to be hyping up Tim Hardaway Jr. this year when he wasn't doing anything for us last year. Us meaning the Pistons. He had a couple good moments in the playoffs that I'll never forget. Thank you, Tim. He was unfortunately thrusted into the starting shooting guard spot because Jaden Ivey went down. Thanks, Cole Anthony. Appreciate you, pal. That's what I think about Jaren Jackson Jr. Next year is going to be very interesting for him and the Memphis Grizzlies, and that's why I have him at number 6. Now, number 5, if I base this just off of the playoffs, he's number 4. Hell, if I base this just on the playoffs, He's number 2. Let's be so real with ourselves. I have to give this man props. Be like unbelievable props. This man, as we enter the top 5, Pascal Siakam of the Indiana Pacers, he put up just over 20 points per game, 3.5 assists, 7 rebounds, a steal, half a block, and shot 39% from deep and 57% from 2. He was also an all-star. I don't think you guys quite understand how important that 39% from 3 is. This is the same guy who entered the league with 0 bag. People were calling him Dollar General Giannis. He had no bag. He shot 14% from 3 his rookie year. 14%. And then he turns it around years later and shot 39% from deep. People are underrating Pascal Siakam, and they've been doing it his entire career. I don't know why he gets that. He gets overlooked. He's arguably the best scorer on the Indiana Pacers. Most reliable, I will say that. He's the most reliable scorer. When the Pacers needed a bucket in the playoffs, he got it for you. And I know he loves play. We'll see how it looks without Halliburton, because Halliburton was his number 1 man finding him. But Siakam, what he did in the playoffs, I'm never going to forget that. I'm never going to forget that. He was absolutely incredible. And I think next year he's going to be the number 1. I don't know who else would be. Him and Nembhard are going to see, like, I think their chemistry is going to build even more, along with Nesmith and Mathurin. I think this team has a lot to look forward to. I think TJ McConnell might have gotten hurt, though, and at least miss a decent bit of this next season. But having Nembhard, who's going to be the primary ball handler for this team, I think him and Siakam need to grow that chemistry a little bit more and see what they have. Because this year is incredibly important for Nembhard. I've talked about it countless of times. But staying focused on Pascal Siakam, when what he does for the Indiana Pacers, any team would love to have on theirs. He is an incredible player who does everything right on the court. When I'm looking at just Pascal Siakam, the amount of gravity this guy demands as well is absurd. He was catching the ball in the post at the high elbow, and in the finals, he was getting doubled to kick it out to Mathurin or to Nesmith. Pascal Siakam is one of the most underrated players in the league, and quite frankly, if you were just basing this off of the playoffs, as I said, you could put him at number 2 on this list. Sorry, just taking a sip of my coffee. You know, a lot of people don't realize solo podcasts are a little bit difficult because you have to catch your breath, you know? Like most podcasts, you can just bounce it off somebody, and hopefully one day I'll be able to do that. For now, though, Pascal Siakam, you're at my number 5. And honestly, if this were like, I'm a huge fan of I think everybody in the NBA loves Pascal Siakam. He's one of those players that every single team looks at and says, man, I wish we had Siakam. I don't think there's anybody that could hate him. Maybe Toronto fans, but hey, they got rid of him. So yeah, I got Pascal Siakam on my number 5. As we head into the number 4, we're starting to enter a different echelon of players, and I think you guys know who's coming. This is a little bit more projections, but after what I saw last year with all the injuries this player dealt with at the beginning of the year, they started the season, I think they were like number 2 in the East, right behind the Cavs. They started this when the Cavs were 15-0. This team, before they started getting banged up, you saw their glaring issues. They were glaring. They couldn't shoot. They could defend. They were the best defensive team in the league, but they couldn't shoot. They could not score, especially from three-point land. But guess who they just got? They just got Desmond Bane, and that's why this next player, at number 4, I have Paolo Banchero. I got to hear a lot about Paolo Banchero because people always compare him and Cade Cunningham, even though they're completely different players. They're just both ball dominant. Paolo Banchero averaged just under 26 points per game. Just under 5 assists. Sorry. Yeah, just under 5 assists. And he had 77.5 rebounds. Almost a steal, half a block, shot 32% from 3 and 51% for 2. All Paolo Banchero needs is a signature move. He's stronger than everybody. He's stronger and taller than most players that's guarding him. All he needs is 3-point shooting around him, because every team that was defending Paolo would collapse. There was no threat from three. So what do we do if Paolo's driving to the hoop? Collapse. Who's he going to kick it out? Who's he going to kick it out to? Anthony Black? Jonathan Isaac? Jalen Suggs? None of these players can shoot. Even Franz Wagner. I talked about him in the last episode when I ranked the top 10 small forwards. Nobody could shoot. Which is why it is so important that Paolo Banchero gets that 3-point percentage up to at least 35% next season. I think asking for a 3% increase is not too much for a player of his caliber. I think he's an incredible talent. I think he has potential to be right up there and like even higher on this list, not just on power forwards. I'm talking best players in the NBA. He is so talented. He is so fun to watch. I don't know if Desmond Bane's going to be enough for shooting. It's sort of like what the Rockets did with Kevin Durant. They lost their three best. I'm going to sidetrack a little bit. The Rockets lost their three best 3-point shooters going into this season, which is why I don't know who's going to shoot on that team. Fred VanVleet tore his ACL. He's out. He's their best and most reliable and most consistent 3-point shooter, especially in late game situations. Jalen Green, he was their other best 3-point shooter. Dylan Brooks, he was their next best 3-point shooter. And they lost all of that. But guess who? Durant is their best 3-point shooter now. The issue is he doesn't attempt that many threes per game at all. Not as much as Fred VanVleet. So when you look at the Magic and you look at all the attempts per game from Desmond Bane, I sort of see a similar situation. Obviously, Desmond Bane is not Kevin Durant. But as far as 3-point shooting, he is a 3-point shooter. He is a sharp shooter that can put it on the floor, that can facilitate. Is that enough offense for the Orlando Magic? I don't think so. So with everybody having the Magic in the top 3 seeds in the East, I disagree with that. Unless you see this leap from Banchero or Franz or both. Can these two be a duo in this league? They can. If one of them shoots at least 35, 36% from deep, I see nothing wrong with it. One of them can still shoot 32% if the other is shooting 36%, 37%. They can play together then. That's fine. One of them needs to develop. And if you ask me, I think Franz Wagner has better mechanics in his jump shot, but Paolo Banchero is better all around at everything else. So I think going into this year, if the Magic truly do believe that they can be a top 3 seed, it's not going to just fall on Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane is not going to take you there solo. Your two guys are Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, and they need to show some improvement. I got Banchero at my number 4. He's just too good of a player to not have a good offense around him. And, it's going to come with time. I'm not worried about the Magic whatsoever, as long as they can stay healthy. And they can add more and more shooters. Imagine Jalen Suggs gets a consistent 3. Oh my God, this team would look so scary. I would not want to play this team in the playoffs at all. Even right now, I feel they're so one-dimensional. They just want to drive and kick, and they'll miss a 3. Now, if they can drive and kick to Desmond Bane, I don't think Desmond Bane's going to get as many good looks this season as he was his years prior. At all. The defense is going to suffocate him on the perimeter. Whoever is guarding is it's going to be weird because you're just going to have to glue to him on the perimeter, and then who else can shoot? Nobody. Let's enter the top 3, y'all. And now we've entered an even higher echelon. Number 3 is mostly based off the regular season, plus a little projection. Number 3, I think you guys can predict who I have here. For the Cleveland Cavaliers is Evan Mobley. Last year, he averaged 18.5 points, almost 3.5 assists, almost 9.5 rebounds, 1 steal, 1.5 blocks, 37% from 3, 62% from 2. He was voted 10th in MVP voting. He was the defensive player of the year. He was an all-star. He was second all NBA, and he was defensive first team. I mean, come on. I am on, the Pistons verse the Cavs 4 times in a year. So I'm getting a front row seat and watching Evan Mobley a lot. I think we were all watching Evan Mobley a lot last year. His biggest issue, and I've talked about it when I talked about Donovan Mitchell and I talked about Darius Garland. But now I can finally talk about the man himself, Evan Mobley. His biggest issue, it's not even his issue. It's not his fault. Evan Mobley in late game situations he's not even top 100 in the league in usage percentage. Did you hear that? Evan Mobley, who is number 3 in the best power forwards in the league for me, is not even in the top 100 usage. What am I saying? Usage rates. That's what I meant. Usage rates in the NBA. That's a disgrace. And I know Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell were 2 of the most clutch players in the league last year. So don't fix it if it ain't broke. The only way this man's going to improve is if you put the ball in his hands. Put the ball in Evan Mobley's hands and let him gain confidence to be that end game. Like double me, get Darius Garland open. Double me, get Donovan Mitchell open. Double me, kick it out to Jaren Allen, cut it into the paint. Like, Evan Mobley is such a good player, and I think we're going to see another jump next year. I don't know if how good can Evan Mobley be? Can Evan Mobley be the best power forward in the league? People are talking about Defensive Player of the Year next year, and obviously he won it because Victor Wembanyama was hurt. I mean, we all know, we all agree. If Victor Wembanyama played the minimum games, he would have won Defensive Player of the Year. But Evan Mobley's no slouch. He's no slouch, averaging a steal and almost 2 blocks per game. Evan Mobley is a very talented offensive player and defensive player. My issue with it is that he's young, which isn't an issue. I just think that he's got last year he had 3 ball dominant players. I think him alongside, let's say, a DeAndre Hunter will work a lot better than him and Ty Jerome. Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland are doing what they're supposed to do. They're putting the ball in the hoop, right? But I think we should expect more from Evan Mobley, and that's why one of those guards I don't know if they're going to work in Cleveland. I think you all know which one I'm talking about. You can't have 2 ball dominant guards and a big expected to work in the post. It doesn't work. Has that ever worked? I don't think so. Well, I just started to think about the Spurs. But they were playing through Tim Duncan most of the time. Yeah. What am I talking about? No, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. Evan Mobley, I love that dude. He's so talented. I just think they need to use him better. I think Kenny Atkinson, I don't think he realizes what he has. Hopefully he's realized it now. The playoffs, they ended up losing to the Indiana Pacers, but Pacers were on a generational run, but they were hurt. Evan Mobley missed a few games in that series. Darius Garland missed a few games that series. Donovan Mitchell was hurt and carrying the entire team. But that's the issue. Everybody's hurt in the playoffs. You can only use the excuse you're hurt in the playoffs if you're physically not playing, because like everybody plays hurt in the playoffs. That's just what happens. That's why they need to shorten the regular season to like 62 games, 64 games. It's too much. 82 is too much. Evan Mobley, man, I don't know what your ceiling is. I'm excited. As a non-Cavs fan, I am excited to see your growth and potential because I think the sky's his limit. If you run this man as a point forward, if he tightens his handles, I think this guy, when he increases his three-point shooting as well, 37%. I'm talking about purely attempts. I am excited to see what Evan Mobley can become. Now, number 2 and number 1 is not a toss-up whatsoever. I think we all know who we're putting at number 2 and obviously who turns into number 1. At number 2, I have the newest goggle member in NBA history, Anthony Davis. So I don't know who your guys' favorite podcast is if you guys listen to other podcasts, but me personally, I've been listening to No Dunks since they were right after they ended the Basketball Jones show. So right before they got picked up by NBA TV to be the starters, I've been listening to it for a long time, and I don't miss any podcasts from them. I love No Dunks. They're the best. Jay Skeets, Taz Mellis, Trey Kirby, JD running it. Obviously, Lily. I miss Lily. We all miss Lily. The reason why I mentioned them is because they were debating about who the best players in NBA histories are that wore goggles. And I'm not talking for a game like Dwayne Wade. I'm not talking like a couple games for these players. I'm talking it is their identity. They are forced to wear it. Well, Anthony Davis is forced to wear goggles now. He's forced to. He had a detached retina, and he constantly gets eye injuries. So he is forced to wear goggles now. And obviously Kareem is number one. But I think Anthony Davis is number two right there. I think Anthony Davis is number two right there wearing goggles. I think. Because then who else do you have? You have Horace Grant. You have Amari Stoudemire. I think it's undisputed Anthony Davis right there at the number two, right behind Kareem. Anthony Davis last season averaged 23 points. By the way, I averaged his numbers between the Lakers and the Mavs. Just letting you know. He averaged 23 points, 4.5 assists, 10 rebounds, 1 steal, and 2.2 blocks, all while shooting 25% from 3 and 53% from 2. Anthony Davis needs no introduction. We all know what he brings to the court. We all know what he's about. We all are unsure of what it's going to look like in Dallas. They traded Luka Doncic for him, right? And I feel for Anthony Davis because he's getting that blame when it's not his fault. He's expected to replace a Luka Doncic when nobody could replace Luka Doncic. They got Cooper Flagg. They got lucky. And now the Dallas Mavericks future is bright. They have D'Lo. They just got D'Lo this offseason to a 2-year deal, and I think the second year is a team option or a player option. I don't remember. So obviously D'Lo and Anthony Davis have that connection already from when they played together in Los Angeles. Until Kyrie gets back, and I don't know if he's going to come back next season. I think they're predicting him to come back next March. We'll see if his timeline still remains that. Obviously, a Kyrie Irving, a Cooper Flagg in his rookie year, and an Anthony Davis look menacing. Anthony Davis, I think we're going to see him a lot at the 4 and 5. I don't think he needs to play 5 at all, but I think they will because he's that good to stretch the floor. Having Lively and Gafford right next to him are really, really good, but it is going to be clogging the paint quite a bit. I don't know what team is going to be getting rebounds over this team. I don't know what team is going to be scoring on this team because, oh my Lord, they look incredible defensively. But Anthony Davis is a true 4. He is a true power forward. And last year, he was great. He was great. I think he's due to have a very healthy season. I think Anthony Davis is a franchise player. He just needs these guys around him that complement his play style. LeBron James complemented his play style to a point. Kyrie Irving's going to complement his play style. Cooper Flagg is going to complement everybody. I am so excited to watch this kid play. But Anthony Davis, they're not title contenders this year, but I think next year, even the year after, obviously we all know big men start falling a little, their skills start falling a little bit quicker than guards or forwards, or I guess like small forwards and shooting guards for that matter. But I see Anthony Davis somewhat transcending later into his career, like a Brook Lopez-esque. Every year we say that Anthony Davis, this is the year he's going to start shooting threes. This is the year he's going to start shooting threes. This is the year he's going to start shooting threes. And he never ends up shooting threes until the playoffs. Because playoffs, you just need to take those shots. If they're giving it to you, you just need to take it. I don't know if Anthony Davis is ever going to shoot consistently from 3, but hopefully it becomes somewhat of a threat to where you can't leave him open anymore because 25% ain't cutting it. I think that's all Anthony Davis needs to work on as far as his game goes. But that's also not a huge ask because he is that good in the paint. He is that good in the post. So Anthony Davis, you're at my number 2. And it's sort of unfair for you because you were damned to the number 2 spot. Because as we all know, the best power forward in the NBA right now, guys, be sure to leave a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. Seriously, just pause the podcast and do that. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that little thumbs up and subscribe. Hit that follow as well on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. At number 1, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis, what can I say about you, man? Last year, you averaged 30.5 points, 12 rebounds, 6.5 assists, 1 steal, almost a block and a half. You shot 22% from 3, but 62% from 2. You were 3rd in MVP voting as usual, 8th in DPOI voting. You were an all-star, and of course, last but not least, you were first team All-NBA. Giannis Antetokounmpo. I am a huge fan of you. I have a jersey in the back for you. Your guys are bringing back the Cream City jerseys. And that's about all y'all got going on to this season. You guys got Miles Turner to help you. I'm scared of how that fit's going to work. It could be great defensively. I just don't know how it's going to look offensively. Any team that has Giannis on it has potential to lock in a top 6 seed. This year, I don't know. Maybe the play-in, but I'll tell you this much. If Giannis is healthy and they make the play-in, they're not losing that. So they're a playoff team. I can't see a team with Giannis on it and not make the playoffs, no matter the conference. Well, I guess if they were the Western Conference, they wouldn't. But Giannis, he could be MVP this year. Let's say somehow, some way, he leads the Bucks to like 51, 52 wins. I think at that, and he averages like 35, 12, and 8. Why can't he win MVP? Giannis is such a good player, but at this point, it seems like the Bucks are more focused on signing his brothers than getting him actual help. You know, they're trying hard. They went and got him Damian Lillard. It didn't work out. They waived and stretched Damian Lillard's contract for the next 5 years. They're still going to be paying Damian Lillard for 5 years. Even when Damian Lillard's probably going to be out of the NBA, they're still going to be paying him. They went and got Thanasis after his Achilles injury. Is it Achilles or ACL? One or the other. And now they signed his brother, Alex. They just cut a really good guy. I think his name is Chris Livingston. That dude dropped like 20-some in the preseason against the Pistons. He's going to get picked up. I hope he does because he's a good player. They're trying everything in their power. They got Miles Turner to keep Giannis happy. But at this point, Giannis is hyping up Ryan Rollins. He's hyping up Ryan Rollins and Cole Anthony. I could never root for Cole Anthony after what he did to Jaden Ivey, by the way. Even though it was probably incidental, but it was reckless. Shouldn't have dove into a player's leg. He is hyping up Ryan Rollins. He fouled out, I think, in 10 minutes of play against the Pistons in preseason. This is what it's come to. Giannis, you are such a good player. I just don't know what's going to happen here. There's rumors of you wanting to go to New York. But there's so many other buyers that are better than New York would be. They can offer draft picks to your Knicks. They can offer draft picks to your Bucks. They can offer better, I don't know about better players because the Knicks would probably package Cat and Mikal Bridges. That would be the price for Giannis. So if you still want to stay competitive, there's that trade right there. Imagine a Brunson, OG Anunoby, Giannis lineup. That would be disgusting. I just don't know what the Milwaukee Bucks plan on doing with you going into this year. Giannis, you're the best power forward in the NBA. People already have you up there next to Tim Duncan. I don't agree. But I just don't know what this next year is looking like for you, my man. I know you're going to put up numbers. You're going to put up the points, assists, rebounds. Your 3-point percentage can climb. You're shooting. Here's one player in the league that doesn't need a 3-point shot. Later in his career, he will need it. There's no way Giannis is going to be able to be 35 years old and still shooting 22% from 3. That won't work. That can't work. You cannot continue barreling your way to the hoop at 35. But who knows? Who knows? LeBron is still 41 and he's still playing at an elite level. Who knows? But LeBron has a consistent jump shot. Giannis, your mid-range is clean. You're unstoppable when you have a head of steam. I hope they can get you some help, and if they can't, then I think it's time, man. I'm sorry, Milwaukee fans. I just don't know if this is going to. I don't know if he's going to be a player that plays in one jersey for his entire career. We'll see, guys. That's going to do her. We have just ranked our top 10 power forwards in the NBA, and next episode is going to be the top 10 centers. I wonder who's going to be the best. If you guys did enjoy, be sure to leave a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And just a reminder, today is October 17th. We are posting a Malice at the Palace documentary on our main channel, Jay-Z Uncut. That link will be down below, as well as our Twitter, our Discord server, our Spotify, this current YouTube channel, the Apple Podcasts, everything. Everything you want will be all linked down below. Remember, we are going to be live streaming these podcasts Monday through Friday all season long, baby. So be sure to get in here while we're doing it because we're going to be live. We're going to be pinning your comments if it pertains to the topic. We're going to be breaking down best games of the night. We're going to be breaking down the worst lowlights of the night. We're going to be breaking down any trade rumors, any injuries, anything that's going around in the league, we will talk about. This is probably going to be the average length of your daily podcast. It's going to be, my guess is around like 35 minutes to an hour. So I hope you guys enjoy this length of podcast, but be sure to tune in live when we do it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I got nothing left to say except for thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And as always, guys, thank you for watching/listening. I'll see you in the next one. We rank our top 10 centers. Peace.